Good evening, and welcome to tonight's PTA meeting. I have been asked to come in this evening and talk about computer coding. Now, before your eyes glaze over and you mentally start planning tomorrow night's meal, hear me out. A year ago, I felt just like you. Any talk of how computers work, outside of using the internet, would bore me to tears, and I would mentally start chasing butterflies. Then, I was gifted my first laptop. It took me till the age of 37 to own the first computer that I didn't have to share with another human being. Around the same time, I was introduced to an amazingly talented computer hacker named Penelope Garcia on a show called Criminal Minds. I became so fascinated with how that woman could manipulate computers and the internet. At that moment, I made that decision that is currently changing my perspective on life. How many of you have computers in your homes? Tablets? How about smartphones? How many of you live your life through various apps and programs? How many of you understand how those tech devices do the things that you need them to do every day? Almost no one I know understands computer coding, yet it is the language that is changing the world. Learning to code is learning how to do magic. It is taking letters and numbers and symbols and turning them into actions. It is literally creating something from nothing. Well, what is code? TheFreeDictionary.com tells us that computer code is the symbolic arrangement of data or instructions in a computer program, or the set of such instruction. Yeah, that sounds really boring. Coding is the language of the future. It is the language that creates the building blocks of computer programming, which is what runs all those tech devices in your home and at work. It is, according to web author Wynn Treese, the new required literacy for the 21st century. One reason to understand computer programming is simply to understand something about the way the world works. Also, CodeConquest.com tells us coding is what makes it possible for us to create computer software, apps, and websites. Your browser, your operating system, the apps on your phone, even Facebook, are all made with code. Coding is what makes computer programming possible. An article for the Australasian Journal of Educational Technology says that the computer programming is the craft of specifying the behavior of a computer. It is employed by computer professionals who create applications or games for use by the general public, by professionals in other fields to produce computer tools or calculations to suit their own purposes, by artists to create procedural methods to render visual elements and sound for pictures and movies, and by hobbyists and enthusiasts as a way of self-expression. In education, teachers and learners employ programming to explore meaning and rules. Since a computer program only works as intended, when a computer program conveys concepts and intentions in exact and precise ways, learners create programs to express rules and ideas. I'm sure that you're asking yourself, why is this important to me? The language of coding is important to anyone who turns on a computer or a phone. Even more importantly, it is important to your children. Web writer Heidi Flado tells us, teaching coding yields many benefits. Not only does it expose kids to a field of work that will provide opportunities in a growing job market later in life, but it also develops critical thinking skills transferable to all areas of learning. Teaching code to children does have many benefits. It teaches them a new way to think that can benefit many facets of their academic career. It introduces them to how computers work so that they can learn how to create new programs and apps to aid in their own education. And it prepares them for a future where technology dominates the market. If your child is like most children, they love playing on the computer. It is estimated that children from 8 to 18 spend an average of 44.5 hours a week on a computer. This includes time for gaming, social media, blogging, and occasionally they even do homework. As a parent, how would you like for more of those computer hours to be productive? Teaching our children how to code gives them the skills that turns that playtime into something more productive. More than that, Paul Tufts, in his article, 7 Lifetime Benefits of Teaching Coding Games for Kids to Your Kids, says teaching code is a great way to develop several positive traits: quick thinking, creativity, and many others. Not only does it foster positive traits, learning to code also improves their analytical skills when facing problems. They will be able to think more logically, which can be a boon for them when they're facing stressful situations. Also, Early coding education helps children to become comfortable with technology early on in life. It demystifies computers and gadgets and makes them accessible to our kids in a way that most of us don't understand. I bet most of you don't have a clue how your tech device works. I will even bet that some of you tried to take computer science classes back in the day to understand them better and found it overwhelming to learn a new and complex language. Imagine if you could have learned computer programming back when you had a mind like a sponge. Our children have an opportunity to grow on with an understanding of the machines that will be a staple in their everyday lives. They can participate in creating the programs and apps that will aid in their education and the education of children all over the world. It is hard to imagine the amazing apps and tools they'll develop when they're older if we get them started learning how to tinker now. But most importantly, when you introduce your child to programming, in the process, he or she is not just learning code, but also coding to learn, as MIT professor Mitchell Resnick writes. If that isn't enough to convince you, teaching coding to children also helps to promote STEM education. The term STEM is fairly new, but the concepts are not. STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. When we teach young children to code, we help them to develop a better respect for these STEM fields. The website California STEM Learning Network tells us a STEM literate student is not only an innovator and critical thinker, but able to make meaningful connections between school, community, work, and global issues. A STEM literate high school graduate can enroll in a college-level course of study in science, technology, engineering, or math without the need for remediation. STEM skills are increasingly necessary to engage in a knowledge-based economy. There is solid evidence to suggest that a fast-growing and high-wage job in future years will be in STEM fields, and all employees will need to utilize STEM skills for problem-solving in a wide range of industries. Let's speak a moment on this job market projection. The Bureau of Labor Statistics projects that there will be a 1.4 million computer science-related jobs available by 2020. It is estimated that there will only be 400,000 qualified graduates. And the median wage for computer programmers is $74,280. Many other fields of employment are going to find that they need to understand computer programming as technology continues to change the world. Bill Gates was quoted saying, "Software substitution, whether it is for drivers or waiters or nurses, it's progressing. Technology over time will reduce demand for jobs, particularly at the low end of skill sets. 20 years from now, labor demand for lots of skill sets will be substantially lower. I don't think people have that in their mental model." It is so important that we teach children computer programming for the good of their future. Are you imagining your child trapped in an office job in front of a computer? Honestly, it couldn't be further from the truth. Let's take a moment and see what your child's future can hold.
I went on the Bureau of Labor Statistics for the United States, and there's about a third of the pie that's all the things you would expect. It's, they're working in the government, they're working in typical technology jobs. But then, the rest of the pie, and it was the majority of the pie, just split down into these little teeny slices of every industry imaginable. And what it is, computers are everywhere. You want to work in agriculture? Do you want to work in entertainment? Do you want to work in manufacturing? It's just all over.
Here we are, 2000.
Computers are our future. We owe it to our children to prepare them for that. Now, how do we prepare our children for this technological future? Fortunately, everyone from Google to MIT to Lego are creating programs to teach children coding. There are websites and school programs that can be tailored based on the age and experience of the student. Some of them are even free to use online. The younger the student is when they start getting their tech education, the better. Think about it. Toddlers know how to scroll on a tablet to find the apps that they like to use. TeachKidsToProgram.com says children as young as 7 can start learning code, but I've even read about programs that start them as young as 5. web writer, and the creator of the board game Code Monkey Island, Raja Sidhu writes, "So how do we teach kids abstract concepts that take college students entire semesters and then some to master? Kids are natural builders, quick learners, and generally a lot smarter than we give them credit for. We need to redefine how education works, not by asking kids to conform to our patterns and expectations, but by attempting to conform to theirs. The best way to teach children is to play with them. That is why almost every single coding program for kids is based on gaming. Sometimes the games are even 3D board games like Code Monkey Island." The website dailytech.com gives us a list of their top 10 favorite ways to teach kids how to code. Tinker, Robot Turtles, Hopscotch, PlayEye, Codable, Primo, Linkits, Code Monkey Island, Robotiky, and Code Combat. TechKids.com adds to this list with Scratch, Small Basic, Game Maker, Pygame, Kudo, Khan Academy, and Code Academy. And this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to coding programs. The best thing about these programs is that not only are they simple enough for children to learn, they are simple enough for adults to learn with their children. There is even a global movement called the Hour of Code through the website code.org, where tens of millions of students in 180 plus countries participate in coding activities. According to the website, over 100 organizations joined this event in 2013 to help provide student and teacher code training through 1-hour online classes. This event runs during Computer Science Education Week, and it is the largest education event in history. This is how important computer science education is to our future. I hope that I've inspired you. I cannot stress how important this can be to your child's future. They need to learn the language that is changing our world. I would like to leave you with more words from Raj Sidhu. For my generation, programming is still a luxury, an impressive resume booster for some, a ticket to the hottest startup for others. For children growing up today, programming will be a necessity, an indication of their understanding of how modern businesses, institutions, and processes are run and how they can be run better. As such, they need to become comfortable with working in and around code from a very young age. Give your child the future they deserve. Teach them to code.